All right, good evening, everybody. I just wanted to play something like get you up a little bit, get you excited. My DJ back there, Matt, bring it down. And we're gonna make this like a hip hop party, but it's gonna be a little educational. So we're gonna put the music back on, but when it comes back on, when it stops, I'm gonna say, hey yo. And what you gotta do is say, aight. You got it? It's really simple. This is what we do at parties. All right, Matt, DJ Matt, play it.
I got the potential to make it go that chill. I got the credentials that is the essential to make
a let it move you.
Then you know I will fulfill. Make a couple of mil as I build a guild for all
the skill and kill the weak rappers.
Hang 'em in energy.
Ah, come on. Y'all killing me. You're killing me. One more time. Hey, yo. There you go. All right, so now my topic is music. This new age of music. I figured I'd talk about music because at first I got a call about doing a TED Talk, and I'm like, who the hell is Ted, and what am I going to talk to him about? So, I ask, everything that's new, I have to ask my daughter. She looks at me, she's like, Dad, a TED Talk, you just talk. It's technical stuff. It's like, all right. So, if I suck, it's her fault. If you don't like it, I won't tell you who my family is here, so they can hold their head high. But 1999, Prince had a song, we're going to party like it's 1999. Because everybody assumed that when the clock rolled over to the year 2000, that everything would go haywire. Things would change. But 12 o'clock midnight came, the world kept spinning, music kept going, bank accounts still had money in it. Music didn't stop, but the delivery system changed. So just to give you a little background of what gives me or makes me an authority on music, I can tell you I've been doing some form of entertainment since I was about maybe 5 years old. We came from Wichita Falls, Texas to New York. I used to do musicals. Imagine how tough I was as a kid growing up in Harlem with a bunch of everybody doing drugs and everything else, and I knew who Robert Preston was, and I used to like Sound of Music, West Side Story, things like that. So, but I was fortunate that I had, you had two groups of friends. You had the ones that was in the street, and you had the ones that was in music. I was fortunate enough that some of my childhood friends was Douglas Davis, who was Dougie Fresh. We grew up together. Another one was Teddy Riley. And like everybody else in that time, everybody rapped, everybody had a crew. I think our group was the Crew 122. Dougie Fresh was, what was Doug's name then? Oh, Dougie D. I'm trying to figure this out. There we go. So I started doing music, and, I was progressing, as you can see. I look kind of good there. But anyway, you start moving, you're doing music, and, I'm working with my guys, and we're moving along. I'm going to show you some pictures. They have absolutely nothing to do with the story, but everything to do with the story. They're kind of out of order, so I wanted to get to something and show you. Yeah, see, that was us a long time ago. So, and I used to dress like this, walking around the streets of Harlem. This is me right here. You know how embarrassing that was. Yeah, that's me. That's the original Get Fresh crew. So anyway, like everybody else, every neighborhood had a crew. We would rap, sing, do everything, whatever we could. Keith Sweat was a lot older than us. He really couldn't sing, but he was good looking, I guess, and he had money, so he had decent clothes. But I started rapping, and I made a record, I think, when I was 14. Wasn't very good at it. Fired myself. Sometimes you have to just have that real conversation in the mirror. It's like if I walked in my office and said I want to make a record, I'd probably throw my ass out. So, you know what they say, if you can't do, you teach. And that's where this comes in. This guy here, this handsome guy here, not me, the other one. That's Terry. Terry had the distinction of making records like he was an Asian kid singing Marvin Gaye and dead serious about it. So, but working on his project was a major accomplishment for me because I met, what would become my family. So now we're fast forwarding. Let me go back a little bit more. I used to work at Sugar Hill Records. I was signed to Sugar Hill Records. I made about 3 songs on there. I'm not going to tell you the titles of the songs because if you find them, I will have to find you and kill you. But, you know, we made records. I started working at Sugar Hill. There was an old man there by the name of Joe Medlin. Joe Medlin was one of the original promotion men in the record business. He was at the start of Motown, him and another guy by the name of Dave Clark. Mr. Robinson owned the record label, which was Sugar Hill Records. But Joe took a liking to me, and he would teach me promotions and things like that during my lunch hour. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, the Robinsons are gone. The kids have the company now, but I joke with them. I have the record of being fired from Sugar Hill Records 15 times. Because every time Sylvia Robinson, who was the lady that sang Pillow Talk, fired me, her husband was like, "You're not fired, go back in the office." But her thing was that they were teaching me too much to control me. So when my final firing, I figured I'd learned enough. I went to, you know, some old friends of mine, Gusto, Robert Wells, and we started a label called Rooftop Records. And on that label, we were looking for an artist, and I remember Kool Moe Dee was in a group called Treacherous 3. They weren't recording anything. So I ran into Mo. It's like, "You should come over, we make a record on you. Put it out." Had no idea how we were going to sell the record because we didn't have a distributor or anything. But the plan came to me that it's like, once we recorded the record, I had a friend that would play music on the radio stations on Friday and Saturday night, 3-hour blocks. That's how you heard the rap music. So I made the record, took it over there. Next day, that Monday, we had orders. I had 10,000 orders for records. But I had one problem. I didn't have money to get the records pressed. And back then, when they had like physical things that you'd put in a player and this, and you put it down and you play it, you had to actually ship those things. You couldn't download them off the internet. So I came up with an idea to ship those records COD from the pressing plant to the One Stop, therefore making my pressing plant my distributor. And they also was my bank. So they collected the money, my pressing plant bill got paid, and we moved on. So moving on as hip-hop evolved and that music in our clique came, which was all of the New Jack Swing stuff, Michael Jackson stuff, that's all came from the camp that I was in, kids that I was fortunate enough to grow up with that had a passion for music. And the beauty about music, for me, is it's something that I do for free. And a real blessing is that if you can do something for a living that you would do for free, that's the greatest gift you could ever have. And it's a passion. So now we fast forward. This is important when it comes, because as technology advances, the delivery system changes, they're working on intelligence. And the intelligence is so intelligent that the intelligent computer or the intelligent thinking algorithm will make a more intelligent computer or algorithm, which will be smarter than humans. But the revolution that's coming is not a revolution that we had with the industrial revolution that backs our economy. This revolution will put so many people on the unemployment line in such large scale that the economy is going to have to be based off of something else. That leads us into entertainment, the arts. The one thing that they've been trying to eliminate out of schools. If you can imagine, I want you to listen to something for a minute. Quick second. You hear that? That's a world without music. The one thing that a computer, although it's science and there's a definite order to make it music, it won't be able to duplicate art to the point that we follow our artists not only for the music that they make, but for the lifestyle that lead, the creativity, the way that they can stare into the abyss and see nirvana. So our system probably will have to be backed by something more creative as these people come out of work. Because even to, I think it is Surface, if you go to the IBM store, they have this virtual machine that you sit in and you can ride a roller coaster. The application for that machine is that you'll be able to buy a ticket for a sporting event or a concert and never leave your house and enjoy it. Now people say that because downloading has taken on such a huge chunk out of record sales, and the difference is, I think for one stream you get paid 0.0045% of a penny, that you can't make a living of it. But you can make a living because the record business is dead, but the music business is alive and well. Revenues are through the roof. And if you think about every aspect of your life, there's music. You go to a film, you want to really feel that moment, there's music in the background. You're walking down the street, you see your boyfriend, and he's wrapped up around, his arms around another girl. You go home, you play that sad song, you got company, but there's music. Music is the medium, and they're still trying to figure out the science behind it that reacts to the human body, to the human soul. A cat makes over 1,000 sounds, and these different sounds will help heal his internals. There's a new study now that they're using frequency therapy to heal certain illnesses. I don't know how much you know about frequencies, but 468 hertz is actually good for healing your DNA. There's 783 helps to relax. It relaxes your muscles. So if you think, people have to Google everything nowadays. So when you go home, I want you to Google healing frequency or God's healing tones. And there are several tones, and there's a couple of them on say, YouTube. I personally get headaches a lot. And I found these tones in 763. I put it on. That's a frequency. It's a cycle per second. And it actually helps deal with my headache. So there's something order about the sounds and the vibration, and God in her infinite wisdom created something in music that moves the soul. And the beauty about music, it's everywhere. It crosses all lines, crosses all ages, it crosses all languages. And the reason that it does that, because we all have one thing in common as a human species, and that's human soul, no matter what you say. So the next time Donald Trump does something stupid, go home and put on Fight the Power, because it'll empower you to make a change. And for you young music makers out there, don't let anybody discourage you, because if that is your passion, truly is your passion, you're going to do that, and you're going to do it with more power and more enthusiasm than anything that you can ever do. And the wonderful thing about music, none of us are alive when Bach was alive, but we all know who he is. The sounds that we make will last and reverberate forever. There'll be somebody in some foreign land, probably in another planet, in another solar system, that's going to pick up the vibrations of, say, a Beatles record or a record that you make. So you live forever through the bars that you write. But the most important thing that I want young music people to understand, because you guys were born inside the matrix. You're going to make the differences in your world. But there's also responsibility when you make music. And when you sit down and you listen to those songs and you say to yourself, when I'm a parent, 30-some years from now, and you're old and you're wearing your pants up to here, you have to say to yourself, did that piece of music that I created that's going to live forever, will I be embarrassed when my child pulls that up? Or will they be proud of me? And will they be happy? But remember, don't let anybody take your dream, because your dream is what you're going to do. And the reason that you have that vision is because you have that ability. And you can make a living in music. That's what the internet is for. That's your own radio station. That's your broadcasting. That's your world. And just like it has no floor, the beauty of having no floor means you have no ceiling. So the sky's the limit. So don't let anybody take your passion. Thank you for listening.